Hello and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, got a good one here for you from the latest video from Rector, and we are talking about Ripple scaling ODL, or Ripple payments as it's been changed to trillions. So few topics to actually discuss on this video, but that's definitely the most important one. But as always, I've got some bullet points here and things that I just want to add my little 2 cents into. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, we've got a video that Zach shows from the FinTech Festival in India. And you've basically got a CEO talking about XRP being used for CBDCs. He basically says that they're working with Ripple and using the XRP ledger in regards to CBDCs for testing and that kind of thing. He's then basically said how they're talking now to smaller countries and basically explaining to them how to move over to CBDCs. So yes, as I've told you guys countless times before, CBDCs are a real thing. I truly believe they are inevitable. I don't like CBDCs whatsoever. I really don't like the idea of them. I don't like what they stand for. I don't like what they can lead to. However, I do think they are inevitable. And so for me, I look at this in the sense of there's nothing I can do to stop CBDCs, so I just look at how can I benefit from this coming in, and that is being invested in XRP, because I do think XRP and the XRP ledger will be one of the main platforms for CBDCs. So I expect that at some point to reflect in XRP's value to be able to handle CBDCs and also to be bridging the currencies and that kind of thing. So yes, I agree, like it's not surprising to hear this, to be completely honest, but it is good to hear, obviously, because it's development, it's progress. So that's obviously a positive, right? Not in the sense of what CBDCs are, but just in the sense of that things are moving forward and they are using XRP for this use case. So that's obviously showing you that XRP is being utilized, this utility is being used. So that was obviously a positive. There's not really much to say in regards to that. I agree that, you know, while we take away what the agenda is for CBDCs, is a positive in terms of what it can do for the value. So that video was obviously a good reminder to see, and it showed you that, again, XRP is still being utilized. So nothing much to add to that, really, to be honest. Okay, so then we move over to the Ripple IPO, and someone basically mentioned that the Ripple IPO could be the biggest IPO ever. Very big statement. We then got Sean McBride, who's basically an ex-Ripple employee, but he's most definitely not a disgruntled ex-Ripple employee, because he's been very positive about XRP and Ripple and things that are coming. Like, he's basically been saying that there's big things on the horizon within like the next few days. Whether that's going to happen, we will see. But I don't really know like what to make of it, because if he's an ex-Ripple employee, like, how would he still be getting this kind of information? I don't know, like, how long he's been an ex-Ripple employee. From what I've gathered, it seems like it's been some time. So if it was like a thing where he, you know, left within, like, let's say last week, then I can understand, because they'd have been doing work with Ripple at the time. So we'd obviously have this kind of information. But if he's been left with them for, let's just say, like, maybe like 6 months to a year, how would he know what they're planning to do? I mean, maybe he's got friends who still work there, so they're maybe still passing on information. I don't know. But one of the things that he did mention was NDAs, as to why he can't go too deep into this kind of stuff. So again, not really too sure about that, but we shall see. I mean, it's good to see someone talking positive, especially someone with a background within Ripple, and, you know, they're obviously going to have certain levels of information, most definitely. So that's 100% a positive. But yeah, Sean McBride talking on the Ripple IPO, he actually says, yeah, it potentially could be. He says, basically, Ripple have obviously brought back a lot of their stock lately, which is true. They've got a zero overhead. Surprised to hear that. I don't really know how that works, because obviously they employ people and stuff like that. I don't know when he's talking about overhead, he's just talking about in terms of, you know, in terms of like not actual employees, but in terms of like business expenses. Maybe their business expenses are very minimum, and so he's talking more in that sense, because, you know, overhead usually counts for employees as well, and so if you've got a workforce of people, that's going to count as an overhead. So I'm not sure how that would be classed, but I could be misreading that or misinterpreting it. But Yeah, he mentioned a zero overhead. He's saying their current valuation could possibly be somewhere between 11 to $30 billion. So, very big number there. Very big number. Do I think this is possible? I mean, I'll be honest with you, when it comes to this kind of thing and IPOs, like, it's the same for me as like chart analysis. I'm not a chart reader. So, I can't really give you any kind of price of what I think Ripple could be valued at. So I can't honestly give you an answer as to whether that's accurate or not. I really don't know. Again, in terms of the overhead, I was surprised to hear that they have a zero overhead. So I don't know if there's things that I'm maybe not completely understanding here, but I would have thought if you've got employees, you've got an overhead, because that alone is an overhead, your employees, you work for. So I don't know how Sean here is actually coming to this kind of price point, this type of valuation. I'm not really sure. So I can't really give it any kind of level of, credibility or, non-credibility. I can't really say. Do I think it's possible? Again, I honestly really don't know. That's just the honest truth. I've got no idea, because I don't know how they value the company. I don't know what type of things they look into. There's going to be obviously a lot of factors that are going to come into play. Sean McBride used to work for Ripple, so he might have information that we're obviously not privy to. So obviously the way he's coming to this valuation, he might be doing this with insider knowledge. So he might have a lot of more information to get that kind of price point. But yeah, I mean, it sounds very positive, right? Again, if they can reach something like that, up to 30 billion, that would be obviously incredible, for Ripple. And I think it would possibly rub off on XRP as well. Not obviously like a guarantee, but this is the thing, because Ripple work with XRP, obviously that's the crypto that they mainly hold and they're the steward of. I think it's one of those things where when people see things successful about Ripple, they may look and think, okay, well, just for example, if the Ripple IPO, goes to a high price point and they say, okay, to buy stock now of Ripple, it's going to be, let's just say $20 a share, just for example. If you're looking at that and thinking, well, $20 a share, and I've got like, let's just say $100 or something, or $500, not going to get that much if I do the Ripple stock. But if I buy XRP, which they're using, hopefully that should reflect in XRP's value at some point as well. If they've done so well with the IPO, they must have a lot of faith of people backing them. So maybe I'll just go into XRP because it's cheaper. I'll get a lot more value for my money, and hopefully I will get, a bigger reward from that. So yeah, I think in that sense, that could help with XRP's price as well. So that is definitely a possible there. But we will see. We will see. Could it potentially be the biggest IPO ever? Sean McBride says yes. So time will tell. The other thing he mentioned in regards to the IPO is that he said that it's possible that they could do the IPO outside of the US. This was something that was actually asked to Brad Garlinghouse recently in an interview, and he didn't really give a straightforward answer. He was being very diplomatic and not very straightforward, which I think is fair enough, because this might be something that, one, they just don't want to give the information out right now. And two, it might be that they're still ironing things out, like they're going through the lawsuit with the SEC. There could be a lot of things that are still taken into consideration. They might not have an answer right now. It could be a thing of, well, we're trying to see where this lawsuit is going to go. If this lawsuit doesn't go through like an appeal or anything like that from the SEC, then yes, we'll do it in America. But if it goes through an appeal, then maybe we will do it outside of America. Zach doesn't think that's the case in terms of them doing it outside of America. He thinks that they're basically just posturing to show we are willing to leave, hoping that will scare the SEC into being a bit more flexible in that sense. I will be honest and say this. I don't know if they are going to IPO outside of the US, but it wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't rule it out, to be honest with you, because I just see how the SEC are being, and they are just not trying to make life easy for Ripple at all. And I think the fact that they lost that lawsuit, they're not happy. They're not happy. So I think anything they can do to make things difficult for Ripple, I think they will at this point. And so I think at a certain stage, Ripple may just say, we really have just got to do this outside of America, because they are just not letting up. They really aren't. Like, I don't think they're happy that they lost the lawsuit. I think it makes them look silly. They're not happy about that. And I think they're very embarrassed. And obviously they lost. So why are they going to want to help Ripple after that? Like, they obviously would have wanted Ripple to just back down and just go with a settlement. But they've obviously fought them in a court of law and they've won. So again, the SEC look bad now. So I think they will do as much as they can now to try and, make Ripple look bad or, try and hold them back. So I did a video recently about how the SEC are now targeting AMMs very conveniently when the XRP ledger is trying to get an AMM amendment passed to be put onto the XRP ledger. So, very convenient timing there, right? Seems very much like they're just trying to, throw another spanner in the works for Ripple. So I think it's very possible personally that they would do this outside of America, because I think the fact that they've got to go through the SEC to try and get this done, and with what's happened, I think they're very aware that the SEC are not going to be giving them no easy road here. They're not going to be doing them any favors whatsoever. So I do definitely think it's a possibility personally. Okay, so let's get to the main nitty gritty here. We're talking about ODL being used to scale into the trillions. So we have a video that Zach puts up, and literally I've had the name all up until this point, and now I'm right here, the name escapes me. Very annoying, but he basically works for Ripple, and there's a video of him talking about ODL / Ripple payments. And very interesting video, but I'll get into what he's basically saying and then we can discuss this. So he's basically just saying how XRP is basically currently being used to move billions. And he's saying that it's a use case that can basically scale into the trillions. He said, from what they've done, the work that they're seeing with XRP being utilized, it's much faster and cheaper than the legacy financial system, which obviously we know that's one of the main points of XRP, right? That's its main utility. And he's talking about how currently speculation is what's running the crypto market. Like the crypto liquidity right now is really more crypto speculation rather than, utility. And he's basically saying that eventually he believes utility will take over, people using crypto for its actual utility rather than speculation. Again, this is nothing new, right? To us guys who do our research and that kind of thing, we are waiting really ultimately to get the true value of these cryptos for the utility to kick in. And this is why I've said, in terms of like this bull run that's potentially coming this year, I'm not expecting it to be like a utility run, right? So I'm not necessarily expecting the value to be, what it could potentially be at its maximized potential if it was to be a utility bull run, because right now it is still speculation. We are still very early in the crypto space. We've not got regulations right now. So straight away, that's a hindrance, right? So we've still got a way to go in that sense. And so for now, I agree. Speculation runs the market more importantly than utility. I do think that will change over time. Who knows how long that could take. But as of right now, I do think that is where we're at. Now, I'm just going to say something here, and I hope you guys don't take this as negativity, because it's not. This is me just trying to be open with you guys and have the conversation, right? So Zach's obviously talking about how this is now being shown that XRP can scale into the trillions because of, ODL / Ripple payments, and, just saying, not telling you whether to buy, sell or hold, because again, like myself, we're not financial advisors, we give our takes and that's that. But he's just basically saying it's up to you what you think could happen to XRP's price when it starts moving trillions. Well, the only thing I'll say about that, right? And again, not trying to be negative, I'm just trying to be realistic here so we know what we're dealing with. If they're saying that XRP is currently moving billions, the price isn't dramatically high, is it? Do you see what I'm saying? So if we do flip to the trillions, is that really going to make it just skyrocket in price? Like if it's currently moving billions at like 50-ish cents, I'm just a bit skeptical in that sense. So, maybe it's a thing where with it doing that type of thing, maybe the speculation side will grow a bit more wild because they'll be seeing that XRP is being utilized the way it is. It's being utilized successfully. This drives more customer demand because they're seeing how it's successfully being used. They start wanting to get a piece of the pie, that kind of thing, and so on and so forth. And then you kind of get like a snowball effect of the value increasing. But you know, just from its like utility perspective, because this is the thing I told you guys before. Cross-border payments in of itself is not going to drive up XRP's price. I hope you guys understand that. And this is where a lot of the influencers and stuff get things misconstrued when they say, you know, like $10,000 and stuff like that. ODL/Ripple payments in of itself is not going to be the driving factor of XRP's price, because XRP is bought and sold in seconds. So there's really nothing happening in terms of the value dynamic. There's nothing happening to supply and demand, because it's literally supply and demand in 3 seconds. It's being balanced out. So I'm not saying that the trillions won't help its price. I'm not saying that, but I'm trying to just show you that I don't think the trillions is what's going to be, oh, this is going to be the rocket moment and, you know, this is what's going to just send it to the moon. Like, I really don't think that's the case. But being able to move that kind of value of money and having it flow through, yeah, I think the more it's being utilized, I do think that can aid in terms of its perception, because this is the thing right now. Like, as I said, we're not really in a utility era right now. We're not in a utility market. And so when you hear about Ripple and XRP, the main thing that we're hearing about is the lawsuit, right? We're not hearing how they're supplying banks for cross-border services and tokenization and all these things, like in CBDCs. Like, you're not really hearing that. Yeah, like there's videos in terms of festivals and conferences, but these are crypto-centric. What I'm talking about is in like the mainstream media. You know, they're not talking to Ripple to do anything about cross-border payments or anything like that. They're really talking more about the SEC. And so I'm just saying that in that sense, we've still got a way to go. And so, yeah. In terms of scaling into the trillions, yeah, I think it can. I think that's possible. I'm not ruling that out, but at the same time, I do not believe that that's the quote-unquote flip the switch moment, right? So I do think ultimately it will help aid with the value of XRP, but I don't think it will be the catalyst. It won't be the sole reason. So good stuff to see here in regards to what's being said. But again, don't necessarily just fall into the trap of thinking, okay, there's a date here, and once this date happens, like that's when everything's going to take off. These things still take time, right? Like these things have to be implemented, and then it has to be gradually built up. So I do agree, and I do think this is positive, but it's not the smoking gun that we're looking for, basically. But all this is positives because it's going to ultimately help with XRP's price. So for me, happy to see it, definitely happy to see it, because I do think overall it will be a helping factor, a helping hand in regards to what brings value to XRP. I'm just not saying it's going to be the factor, as in the only factor. So overall, great video here. Some good points made by Zach. Definitely some good videos that he's found here, like really good stuff to see. And you know, it's always good when it's not just coming from the influencer, right? It's good when you're seeing videos from people who are actually at the festivals, working for companies, working for Ripple, that kind of thing, because you're getting direct information from the horse's mouth, right? It's not like you're going to just take it as like speculation from me or Zach, or, you know, pick whoever your influencer is, whatever. You're getting it from the people who are actually out there doing the work and working with these companies like Ripple and using the crypto, right? So that's always a good thing. So definitely a great vid and worth checking out if you guys are interested. But overall, some great points made here. But what do you guys think? XRP, ODL/Ripple payments scaling to the trillions. Do you like the sound of this? Do you think XRP/ODL can scale into the trillions? And what do you think that could do for XRP's price? Or do you not agree with this? Is there anything that you've heard in this video that you have any concerns with? Or do you just not think that XRP scaling to trillions is going to do anything for its price overall long term? Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'd be interested to hear. Thank you very much for watching this. If you did like it, please remember to drop a comment, like, and subscribe. But until next time, Take care.